There we go.
Good.
So I exchanged emails with Gary earlier today. I highly covet my weekly or my every 9 weeks or 10 week picks. But I think maybe I felt that comedies are perhaps lacking in the big scheme of things. So I decided, and I've had this movie on my list for a long time. So I said, "What the hell? I'm going to use a pick for a comedy." So does require a lot of cerebral, uh, heavy lifting. It's not depressing. It's not a documentary. Nothing against documentaries, by the way, because I liked the one we watched last week. But I wanted something to laugh. I wanted to laugh for a week, and I think Albert Brooks is a comedic genius.
I
Just to
agree.
get to the nuts and bolts that we always do, the movie came out in 1985. It had a budget of $4 million. It grossed 10.1 million, so it made money. Not bad money for 1985. It was nominated for and won Best Screenplay by the NFSC, which we all know is the National Society of Film Critics. And it was nominated but did not win for Best Screenplay by the New York Film Critics Circle. So it got a little hardware to boot. Uh, I just think it's just one funny scene after the other. Maybe not fall down laughing funny, but starting with when he gets fired or quits in the boss's office when he wanted to move to New York, when they go to the casino, even starting with, and this is a movie where my wife and we quote lines from this movie all the time. When they go up to where they were disappointed that they had the junior bridal suite as opposed to the main bridal suite. Anytime my wife and I ask each other a question where we either don't give a shit about the subject on which we're being asked or we flat out have no idea, we just say junior bridal suite. That's our stock answer for everything. Um, then, of course, when he discovers after I don't know how many years they've been married that his wife has a serious gambling problem and
Gambling.
blows the nest egg, uh, the scene in when Gary Marshall as a casino manager in his office, and I read something. I've looked up some trivia about this, but when he's doing his pitch and trying to turn into an ad campaign uh, based on them getting their money back, and he references all the other schmucks that go to Vegas to see Wayne Newton, and Gary Marshall goes, "I like Wayne Newton." I read a trivia thing that on the Prince of Bel Air, the TV show with Will Smith, they did a takeoff of that scene where Will Smith and that his sidekick lose money in a casino, and they go to a casino manager to get the money back, and Wayne Newton plays the casino manager. Just kind of a little homage to this scene in the movie. The Hoover Dam scene, the employment office. This is another one. My wife and I were. Albert Brooks asked the employment guy, "Does he have a box of high-paying jobs?" And then he has to resort to being a crossing guard where he gets shit by 3 10-year-olds on their bikes. Uh, and then finally, before they decide to go back, when Skippy, the manager, Skippy out, he decides they're going to swallow their pride. They pull away. I don't know, Mike, if you noticed this, when they pull away in the motorhome, they didn't even unhook everything. There's like wires and stuff hanging behind the motorhome when they take off. I just thought it was a very, very funny movie. I looked at the trivia. I don't, you guys probably do this too on IMDb. Bill Murray was considered for the lead of David Howard in this movie, but due to some heavy commitments, Brooks decided to do it himself because he didn't want to delay the movie for a year. the His manager and producer of the movie, I'm trying to find the guy's name. I'm sorry, I had this all queued up. Let me see if I can find it. Pregnant pause here.
Hi, Donna. Are you in Springfield?
I am. I'm at your daughter's home, as a matter of fact.
I warned Pete that it might be light tonight because you were away from home and I was away from home, and here we are.
here we are. Yeah.
Okay. Albert Brooks's manager and film producer went along on the cross country. They said this movie was largely shot on location except for 3 days in a studio. So they were actually shooting it, cross country. His manager, when they were in like New Orleans, his manager wanted to drive the motorhome, and he just kept bugging him. So they finally let him do it. And said he backed one place where they were parked. They backed it. This guy backed it out, tore the awning off to the side, so they didn't let him drive it anymore after that. So anyway, obviously this is a movie that probably doesn't merit a ton of discussion. Did anybody not see it before this assignment? Had everybody seen it before, or was this a first time for anybody?
I hadn't seen it before.
First
You had
time.
not?
I
Me
hadn't.
neither.
Really? Okay. Well, I hope it wasn't a waste of an hour and 31 minutes.
I had seen it
That's
before,
really
but
all
I
I got.
loved watching it again.
What's that?
Yeah.
That I had seen it before, but I loved watching it again.
Yeah.
And I told you in an email, Pete, it reminded me of all my wife's different hairdos during the 80s.
Another continuing line I liked was, "Is that leather?" I don't know why. I feel like
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Mercedes leather.
it's like a
Mercedes.
rug made in the
Mercedes
room or
leather.
something.
Right.
By the way, another trivia thing: the voice of Hans, the Mercedes, that's Albert Brooks doing the voice of Hans.
I
Oh,
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I like all the references to Easy Rider as if this has
Yeah.
anything to do with the other.
yeah.
Yeah. I like when the guy in the motorcycle flips him off when they first take off.
Right.
Brooks is hitting the horn, the guy flips him the bird.
Well, man, I read 2 or 3 reviews that tied it to Easy Rider quite closely, saying that that number one, by the time this movie was shot and produced, the 60s were way over, and that people that this was a comparison of people that idealized Easy Rider the movie compared to what the reality of their lives were, and they were
Right.
which weren't anywhere close.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what Albert, I saw him do a little interview, and that's what he said. He said, people thought exactly what you said, Mike. People thought that the 60s you could just, drop out and everything would be cool. But the reality of it, especially I think in the 80s, when that was Reagan years, wasn't it? I mean, isn't that the greed is good years? So you have that one, the greed, the having all the material and then trying to get away from all the material and then losing everything. I thought it was really, it's Albert Brooks. He's really good. Everything he does is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out that the freedom they were looking for was the freedom to be capitalist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least,
to be rich.
Yeah, to be able to do what they want to do. They couldn't. But the best scenes, of course, are what like you said, Pete, when he's with Gary Marshall, it's just like he is really trying to sell this idea, and that was really good. It was just good. It was good the first time I saw it. I had a different take on it this time, but it's still really good. Yeah.
Your meals and room comped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they saw the room and the two hearts, it looks like if Liberace had kids, and I forgot what the exact line was. But yeah. He was obviously in a movie I recommended Mike pick a number of weeks back, Defending Your Life. This little different genre from that, but I just think he's particularly talented. So, Mr. Matson, what did you think?
Did you say
I liked it. It's like you said at first, it was not a, huh?
Oh, go ahead.
What's that, Bill?
nothing? I just
It's just not a belly roll. It's just a lot of chuckle after chuckle after chuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is what he's good at, really. He
Yeah.
usually throws in a couple of knee slappers, but he'll hit you all along the way.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of the first Vacation, like before Chevy Chase.
Oh, National Lampoon.
Yeah, take your family and go out on a it had that kind of same feel to it as one of the vacation movies. But yeah, it was fun. I also liked Julie Hagerty. I was sitting there going, where have I seen her before?
Airplane.
Look
Airplane.
at Airplane. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are three moments in this movie that Mattson and I think relate to in particular, because we both had big RVs. Number one is when they were backing out anytime. I went, what are they going to hit? Because backing out is difficult. And then the second one is when they didn't take their power cable off, and they just pulled away when they were leaving for New York and ripped it out. And then the third one, which is the most improbable one, is that there's a completely open parking space in the city in downtown Manhattan.
Yeah, right.
For an RV to just slide in with no difficulty whatsoever.
They pulled.
Yeah.
It's the movies.
Yeah, it's a movie.
That could
And
never
then the
happen.
guy, then his
That could
former,
never happen.
then his colleague sees him immediately. The guy starts to panic. Hey, how are you? Oh, get away from me.
There's my
Oh
RV
my God.
right now.
Oh, there you go. Look at that thing.
There it is.
What a
Wow.
monster. Where are you, Mattson?
Bennett Sprang.
Oh, cool.
And there's his feet.
You catch any fish?
Yeah. Sure did.
Where's the beer?
In his hand.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's one of those trans beers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
By the way, some other trivia I read, the scene where they're rolling into the city after they come out, that they're actually going to New Jersey after they show they said the angle that
Oh,
they're going
this
through the
one-
Lincoln Tunnel, they're actually going into New Jersey. Yeah, right.
That one there, huh?
Yeah.
So, Pete, do you still see Albert Brooks in anything, or is he retired, or?
I don't, he did something a few years ago, something about comedy in the Middle East. He went to the Middle East and he like interviewed people over there and like tried American. I don't remember the exact premise. I started watching that. I didn't finish it, but that's the last thing that I remember.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a movie where he had a contract from the U.S. government to figure out what Muslims find to be funny, so that they could use that to improve relations. Somehow, and I think he made it after the Iraq War, even.
Yeah,
So, probably in the aughts.
I just found it. It was called "Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World." That was it.
2005.
Yeah.
And then he did a serious role in the early aughts also, didn't he? It was one of the Baby Driver movies or something like that with Cranston and some other folks. Bryan Cranston was the guy that worked in the shop where they had these cars and stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with it.
Mahoney remembers it.
No, I was actually reacting to Whitaker showing us the styrofoam cup that said lake. He's going, yeah, okay, we got it.
Mike, I think the movie you're referring to is called Drive. It was done
There you
in
go.
and a little snippet. The director for Drive said the reason he cast Brooks in that movie was when he saw this movie and he saw this scene where Brooks basically tears into his wife and going ballistic after realizing that she's lost the nest egg, that he felt that he could display lots of different emotions, and that's what that movie is what led him to be cast in Drive. So
Right, he was a
there you go.
badass in that.
Yeah, right.
I remember that movie.
We watched it as a group way back when.
We did. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
We
before
did.
my
What-
time.
yeah. With, Bryan Cranston. Anybody else remember? Jeff Copeland, you remember that one?
I think that's when I saw it.
Oh, okay. Bill remembers.
Might have been an extra.
Ryan Gosling, Carey Mulligan, Ryan Cranston.
There you go, Ryan Gosling, and
Yeah.
that's what, and
Oscar
Bryan
Isaac.
Cranston.
We've seen in a couple other. Ron Perlman, quite a cast.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Perlman plays a good bad guy too.
Yeah.
He looks bad.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he was in what was the prehistoric movie you picked?
Quest for Fire.
Quest for Fire. There you go. Yeah, that was one of his first movies, and
Yeah.
he was a mean-looking guy in that thing.
Even without makeup.
Yeah.
Jeff Copeland, had you seen this movie before?
No, had not.
And what was your take?
Well, I don't know. I got that there was a lot of humor in it, but there was so much yelling. I mean, it seemed like he worked himself up into a rant about every third scene. And I don't know, it just didn't capture me very well. For some reason, my funny bone was off that day. I had just had a shingles shot too, so that might have been part of it.
Hmm.
And they're
Maybe
not
that
funny.
That should be a warning when we go into theaters. If you've had a shingle shot, do not buy a ticket.
It kicked my butt. I don't know what you guys' experience has been like, but it was,
Is that the 2-step one?
Is
yeah,
that your
Shingrix,
first or your second?
my first one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, wait till you get your second one.
it wiped me
I
out.
heard the second one's real fun.
I've had the single, and then I got the both the 2-shot one later. I didn't have anything from any of them.
Huh.
Maybe
Well,
I got a
that's-
placebo.
We should
Maybe.
limit these Zoom calls to one medical issue per visit.
Please.
Okay. I've
We'll
used
So
it
tonight's
up.
shingles.
Shingles tonight, but no knee replacement discussions or
Right.
colonoscopy talk. No.
I had the single shot about 5 years ago, and then about 6 months ago, I got the shingles,
Oh, geez.
Oh, no.
but not very badly. You know, and luckily I was at my primary care physician at an appointment with him, and he said, anything else? And I go, yeah, I got this thing on my back. I don't know what it is, you know. And he looked at it and he goes, oh my God, that's shingles. So there wasn't anything I could do about it except write it out, you know. But I'm waiting. I have to wait 6 months, and then I can start the 2-step process. So it'll be soon.
Hmm.
Oh, you'd only had the 1-shot version?
I'd had the 1-shot version back in like 2015 or 2014 or something.
Hey, back to the movie for a moment. Wait.
Thank you, Mike.
Wait a minute, I want to show you this first, Bill.
I've got this spot here on my.
Don't get up, Mike.
Did anybody else feel like this movie may have run out of film at the end? Because I mean, they went from okay, let's get my job back to 15 shots of driving across the country, and then boom, he's in New York, and the effects come up. Yeah, he got a 31% cut in pay, but he got decent medical. See ya, bye. It just seemed like they cut it off abruptly.
I read a review. I don't remember if it was Siskel or Ebert. That was actually, he liked the movie, but that was actually one of his takeaways. If there was a negative, he felt it ended a little too abruptly, and that you maybe could have added another however much time to settle a few things. That was actually a comment that he made about this film. Yeah. So there you go.
A lot of comedies, it seems like, Mike, are just gags strung together, and you can only do gags on the same topic for so long. And that's why a lot of them are less than 2 hours. They're often an hour and a half,
Yeah.
hour and 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't seem like there was even any sort of effort to resolve anything. Boom, they just went, okay, I'll go back and eat shit in the corporate world and
Yeah.
New York.
Well, what else you need to know?
Better medic.
In a way, that was kind of nice. You know, I mean, I thought the same thing. I was going, I know it's an hour and a half movie. How are they going to get all this resolved? You know, and they, like you said, they just wrapped it up.
Yeah, and it looked like they used their footage of driving across the country all up right there too.
So what would have been better, Julie Hagerty in a Gamblers Anonymous meeting? Not sure how
Yeah.
you resolve it. Or them getting all their money back from the casino?
Oh, yeah.
Brooks
they,
said
they,
that for the
they could have they could have stopped at a boat anywhere. Let's say Biloxi, Mississippi, just for an example, and she goes back to the roulette table, and before she starts gambling, you know, she goes, nest egg, blah blah blah, and they go off like that. I don't know what the solution was. I'm just saying it felt abrupt.
Yeah.
I think Gary Marshall driving off in an RV would have been the.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could have, watching it, I could have seen it being a little darker ending, you know, like it could have been, oh my gosh, that's kind of sad or something, but you know, they didn't end up that way because I had all kinds of thoughts going into the tail end of it.
Or a couple guys on motorcycles pulling out their shotguns and blowing them.
Right. Blowing them off the road.
Yeah. Just a
with
thought.
the Steppenwolf in the background.
For being lost in America, they actually didn't get too deep into America. I mean, they just made from LA to Las Vegas, right?
To Las
well, it got
Vegas.
to Arizona.
Yeah.
After Arizona. Another trivia, according to Brooks, the 30 cast and crew were crammed into 2 Winnebagos, staying overnight in cheap motels. Brooks said that we got as far as Phoenix, Arizona, and everyone stopped talking to each other.
That's why the movie ended so abruptly.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
No more staff.
It would be
Well-
kind of interesting to know if that was one of the reasons that the cast just wasn't it wasn't clicking, you know.
I don't know.
I wonder
Well-
what they spent the $4 million on.
Gas.
Yeah.
A Winnebago.
And a Winnebago.
Gas
Yeah.
and overnight fees at campgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By a lot of campground in
You know,
those days.
In 1985, I don't think there were casinos in Biloxi or anywhere other than Vegas.
Oh,
Vegas
you're
and
probably-
Atlantic City, about it back then.
Yeah.
Well, see, I know for a fact, just off the top of my head, that Missouri authorized casinos in 1984, but they probably weren't built up and out and rolling by 85. So
Wow.
in the
They were
back of my
not.
head.
Because I took customers that came in, the Moran brothers from New York that you probably talk about, Mike. They came into Kansas City one time where all we had was what's now Bally's. I forgot what it was called. The very first one that actually went on the river.
Yeah, that's it. Argosy.
Argosy,
The
yeah. At the boat.
That was early 90s when they came, where there was still the $500 loss limit and an actual cruise where you went downstream. And then I guess the Missouri Port Authority determined that the river was too dangerous to actually put a riverboat on, so they docked it and built a boat-looking building. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the Coast Guard told them.
Coast Guard, okay, yeah,
That's essentially the story. Yeah.
yeah.
Replicating salamanders that came onto the land and turned into humans.
That's not how I remember it, but if that's how you remember it, that's okay.
I wondered what happened in St. Charles because there's a similar story. They were supposed to be free floating, and then all of a sudden they were a solid building. Same
Yeah,
place.
Then
same
St. Louis
thing.
had the Admiral. The Admiral was actually a
That's on the
floating one
Mississippi,
for a
though.
while.
Yeah,
That's true.
different river, bigger river.
Did you ever take a trip on the Admiral? I
Never
did.
been there.
The little
It was
kid.
it was a McDonald's at one time, wasn't it?
It had one.
Yeah.
So they turned the Admiral into a casino? Is that right? It was there for a long time.
I took it when it was just a pleasure boat, and that was a big deal when I was a little kid. We got on the, I think we were out for 4 or 5 hours. We
I'll
probably
take
went
care of
3 miles.
Well, what else we watching?
Hey, what? I think I have next week's pick. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Here it is. Young at heart. And the at is the symbol at. Okay. You'll see 14 movies that are young at heart, but this one has the at, young at heart. Has anybody ever seen this before?
I have not.
From when? When
It's
is
from
it?
2008. And I'm sorry, but it's not available. It's not streaming on anything, but it's available on seven rental platforms. And it's a story of a senior citizen chorus in Massachusetts that sings pop music songs like Coldplay, Jimi Hendrix, that sort of thing. And they've got
Really?
they've got a middle-aged director who runs the group of old folks.
Oh,
And
yes.
they travel around the world. Have you seen them before, like on other things?
Yes. Now it's ringing a bell. Yes, I think I have.
So it's
So
the
this is
sequel to-
I'm
it's
sorry,
the
go ahead.
sequel to Chorus Line.
Not quite. But it's Pete was talking about something that's fun, so I decided to do something fun, and this one's fun. And this is a strange combination because it's a comedy / documentary. You don't see those very often, but you get to know a lot about these old folks who show up for practice all the time and try to learn these songs that they've never heard of before. He convinces them that they're great, and then they go out and they just level audiences.
So did you say it's real?
It's for real, yeah. It's a documentary of this guy. He's still doing it. The participants die over the years, but he keeps replacing them with other people. And they play prisons. They
Got to
play,
replace
Yeah.
the baritone.
right. That's part of the story. Is one guy they lose one of their main guys. That's But anyway, I just thought it would be a fun one, and I assume that most of you probably hadn't seen it, and it's one of those that you ought to see it. It's fun. It's worth it.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it was-
I don't know if anybody's got recommendations or not, but my recommendation would be, well, there's a couple. There's a documentary out on Hulu called Being Mary Tyler Moore. And I don't know how much of you are Mary Tyler Moore fans, but she's an incredible woman. And it's a great story about her. And then another thing that I've seen, besides all the other series I've been trying to finish up, which I've been able to do, on Apple TV, there's a series called The Big Door Prize. And I think that was a good one. It's a comedy also. It's got Chris O'Dowd stars in that. I always like him. So
Yeah.
From National Lampoon?
No, he's from Ireland, I think.
He is. He was in shit.
He was in
Been
Get
in.
Shorty, the TV series, as a bad guy. Several years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. But I don't know what else has he been in, Pete. Do you know?
Yeah, I'll pull something up here. You guys
okay.
will be familiar with it.
I watched Being Mary Tyler Moore. I thought it was interesting.
Oh yeah.
So did I. I thought it was interesting as well. She was much, not surprisingly, much different individual in real life than what she played on TV.
She was much different.
Yeah, she was a much more serious woman in her real life.
You know, like when they were interviewing her about the Mary Tyler Moore show, she said, well, you know, I'm married, because she portrayed the single woman, independent woman the whole time, and you know, but it still reflected her values. I mean, that was what kind of interesting about it, is that, you know, she played the single woman who was making her way through society. But in real life, she was married, you know, and had a family. Well, she had a young child. Actually, the kid that she had was the same age as her little boy Richie on the Dick Van Dyke Show. That was her only child, isn't that right, Mike?
No, I think I thought she had 2 children. Maybe not.
She had a sister. She had a sister, I think, that committed suicide, or
I thought her son died before he was 30.
yeah,
Something like that.
Chris O'Dowd was in a comedy, Bridesmaids, with Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph, and he plays the cop who becomes a love interest. But he was also in a movie, one of my picks, Calvary, which was shot in Ireland. He was the guy that interacted with the priest, with Brendan Gleeson. That was Chris O'Dowd, in kind of a dark role for him. So I haven't heard the podcast, although I've now checked out the podcast called Smartless with Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes, which is a very funny podcast. These 3 guys, every podcast, there's a guest star that only one person knows about. The other 2 do not know until they show up to do the podcast there. So they took this podcast on the road. They go to Chicago, New York, LA, Washington, DC, and it's what it is. It's just a video of their podcast. It's very, very funny, very funny. It's on what's now Max instead of HBO Max. It's now on Max. Anybody watch the finale of Succession? Any of you Succession fans?
Yes, yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I didn't watch the first 5 years, but I watched the finale.
I've debated that. I didn't watch I watched the first couple of episodes and never really got hooked on it.
Really? Okay.
And well, it was just other things, you know. It wasn't that it was bad.
I get it. I get it.
But I seriously thought about that, Whitaker. But then I couldn't get myself to do that, because I wanted to. I'm going to go through and watch the whole thing on my own time, and then
I'll save you a bunch of time.
Well, I've got time to kill.
Yeah.
See, that's
It's the butler, isn't
Guys.
it, Gary? The butler.
Yeah.
My son and daughter-in-law watched it all, and I was here with them last weekend, and they were determined, you know, that they've made an appointment. So I watched it, but like Sanders, I watched the first couple episodes, so I knew who the players were. I just jumped like 4.5 years forward, like, oh, okay.
To see who won.
Yeah.
Basically.
You know,
yeah.
it's kind of, I didn't like any of the characters, I guess. And I started watching it.
That's why we stopped watching it. There was nobody to like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't like anybody. And even at the end, it was kind of like, they're so dysfunctional. I don't mind a little dysfunction. I think it makes people interesting, but that family was so dysfunctional, and they so didn't like each other, or I don't know. It was so, to me, they were just so unlikable that even at the end, I think Siobhan, right? Yeah, Siobhan. She basically ends up being the winner because she gets Tom back, and Tom is taking the whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Oh man.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Mike.
Oh, I might as well watch
Okay,
it
open
now.
mouth, insert foot. Yes. Okay.
It's
Sorry.
the process. It's the process. I mean, that what was her name? Shiv, the actor.
Siobhan,
Vaughn, yeah.
Her
Siobhan,
performance,
Irish name.
her performance was so good. She,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, when she's in the room at the end, you know, and it's all going down. You know, somebody said some. I've been watching these YouTube videos about it. Somebody said just watch every move she makes, and it's true. I mean, every move she made in that room at that last deal, she was just rolling her eyes and her face, and it was such a great acting performance. I mean, I think it was such a great series, and you know, this liking characters. I mean, were there characters in there's lots of shows where you don't like the characters. The Sopranos. I mean, I can't. Did you like the Sopranos? I mean, were they good guys? No. These guys weren't made to be liked. I think it was one of the better series I've ever seen.
I think that's a good point. I think if there's a movie and I'm investing hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes, I can put up with a little dysfunction. But to ask me to spend 5 years with people I don't like,
Yeah.
I got
that's right.
I got plenty of other people that I don't like. I don't need to add more.
Did you watch The Sopranos?
No.
Same deal.
Yeah, but the Sopranos, a lot of those characters individually had
Were
some
likable.
had an appealing trait or two in them. You know, so some of them were outright comedic. So I mean, Tony Soprano, mob boss with sees a shrink. You know, I mean, just
Yeah.
that sort of, you know, the vanity of Paulie Walnuts.
Paulie Walnuts, hilarious.
Paulie Walnuts was the funniest.
I didn't watch it because I didn't like people. I never just never got started. And then I was so far behind the curve, I just never picked it up.
Right.
I did the same thing though. I did not watch it while it was on, and then later when I felt like it, I watched every one of them, and I thought it was
worth
great.
it.
Oh yeah, and I thought it was a great ending. I don't know how the rest of you feel about the ending, but
The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Don't tell me.
Don't-
La 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 la
we
la
won't
la.
tell you.
Anybody watch the finale to Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
No,
Yes.
don't give it away. No.
Oh, no, it's good. I just wanted to say I watched that. I love that show, and I watched it.
I did too. I like that.
All
a
of
lot.
it, you know, all the way. And then I thought the finale was fitting, and it was fun, and it made you laugh and cry and all that stuff.
That's why I don't have any recommendations when we meet on Mondays, because I'm trying to wrap up Mrs. Maisel, Better Call Saul, and
Right. Oh, that's
Ted
lovely.
Lasso, and I only have so much bandwidth. So
Oh,
Yeah.
that Ted Lasso. How did everybody like the Ted Lasso
Oh,
finale?
yeah.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
I love the series. I have not watched this last season yet. I haven't started it yet, so I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. It's a
okay.
great series.
I like what I watched. I just haven't started this one yet. Same reason. I only had so
Yeah.
much.
There's so
bandwidth.
much. Yeah.
It was pretty
The guy
good.
that plays what's his name, Tart or whatever, the
Jamie
on
Tart.
the team,
Jamie Tart.
Yeah.
Jamie. He was on CBS Mornings like yesterday or the day before,
yeah?
and he hinted that there's another season being talked about, but he doesn't know exactly when or why or how or whatever.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
it may not include the star either. So
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis.
Sudeikis is
Yeah.
kind of done with it from
Yeah.
what everybody says. He's just ready to move on. But it's such a moneymaker and it's such a crowd pleaser that
All right. Yeah. Everybody loves it.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a big Twitter discussion in Kansas City today about the fact that Lasso, which I have not seen, had a direct flight from Kansas City to London, which doesn't exist. And so people were going, well, why doesn't it exist? Or, all of that sort of thing. So there was a lot of talk about whether or not there should be transcontinental flights from Kansas City.
Yeah.
That show was a pretty good advertisement for Kansas City. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm not
Can't.
talking about the last show. They were the whole time. I mean, there'd be times where he'd be sitting there. I saw that there was one show he had on the T-shirt that had all the barbecue locations in Kansas City. You know, the one that
Right,
you
right.
know, I mean, I know all the people here. They kind of appreciate it, and it showed how much he loves his hometown.
Mhm.
This is not revealing anything in the finale, but he was wearing a Kansas City Comets t-shirt in one scene. The indoor soccer game, you know.
That goes back a ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They still.
Well, you know,
Yeah, there's
what I really
Comets.
liked is that I really started getting interested in soccer, which I really hadn't been interested before, but it was just, even though it's, you know, it's about soccer, but it's not about soccer, but I just really thought, because because he didn't know anything about soccer and I really didn't know anything about soccer, it was really kind of fun to kind of learn along with Ted, you know?
Learn with Ted.
Yeah,
That'll be the follow-up series. That'll be the spinoff.
yeah.
He can make a guest appearance.
Yeah.
He was here with all the Kansas City, and so they got a thing here called the Big Slick, and Paul Rudd and Jason Sudeikis and all the Heidi Gardner. They all came back in town for that, raise money for Children's Mercy Hospital.
They set a record this year for that. Over $3 million they raised this year.
Oh, wow.
My sister Margaret worked that, and yeah.
This year or all the time?
What's that now?
All the time or this year? Or
She's worked at the last couple. I mean, she retired from T-Mobile, it used to be Sprint Center, but they bring her back every year just as an independent contractor. And so she was down there.
Your sister Margaret is really your sister Margaret, not some nun.
That's correct. That is correct.
All right.
Sister Margaret McCluskey, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't call her Maggie.
We call it, well, she's known as Madge now.
Yeah.
really?
When she was a kid, if my brothers and I wanted to give her crap, we called her Peggy, and that really pissed her off. So
One of the people they brought back this year for it was the CNN anchor Jake Tapper. And Tapper's connection to Kansas City is that he married a Kansas City girl. So
Oh,
Wow.
that's that connection.
What's the event?
called the Big Slick. They do a
softball
celebrity
game.
softball game on Friday night before a Royals game, and then they have an auction that goes on. They auctioned off like a red carpet with Paul Rudd. Some of these things went for over $50,000, and then they have an event at the arena that night. There's probably 40 people up on that. So they have bars on the stage where 38 of the people are just sitting around in sofas drinking while a few of them get up and perform. Darius Rucker performed. He was the headline act this year at the end of the night. Sheryl Crow was the headliner last year. I went to it last year.
Was this the event where Mahomes played softball?
Yeah.
Yes, that was exactly right.
I saw that.
Yeah, exactly
Yeah,
right.
it's a big fundraiser for the Children's Hospital here.
Right.
And these like 4 or 5 stars, they started at what, 20 years ago now or
No,
something?
not maybe 10.
Yeah, maybe 10-ish.
Like Eric Stone Street and
Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Rob Riggle, and David Keckner are the kind of the 5 that.
Heidi Gardner got in late.
Yeah.
Heidi Gardner's mother used to be a bartender at the Quaff when Pete and I drank there.
No kidding.
Yeah,
She was? Really?
Really?
yeah.
Pete's like, really?
You'll pardon me if I don't remember most of my nights at the club.
You remember Ernie, do you not?
What's that?
Ernie?
That's a tough job.
Her name was Ernie.
Oh, I didn't, I just remember our man, Randy.
You were all pumped up. No.
Little pot, me kettle.
Exactly. No, Ernie worked there for, I don't know, better part of 10 years, I'll bet.
Well,
Not
I
always
gave
on
him,
time. Not always on
Why
time.
would you know that?
Because I was there for the better part of 30.
I gave the Quaff 25 of the best years of my life. 20 good ones and 5 not so good ones, maybe. But, Yeah.
Mahoney, you know this story, but one time Bob Walsh came to Kansas City and he wanted to see the World War I museum. And I said, sure, let's go up there and take a look at it, you know. And we were standing on the plaza thing, looking at downtown and all that kind of stuff. And he goes, you know, it's about, you know, happy hour or whatever. Do you know where Mahoney works? And I go, sure, I know where Mahoney works. He said, do you think we could hook up with him? And I said, yeah, there's a bar right across the street and he'll be there. And sure enough.
Yep.
I think you knew we were coming though. I called somebody and told them we would just meet you at the quaff. So
you wouldn't even have to have gone to that length of trouble though, really, seriously.
well, I know, but
Yeah.
I just was surprised Mahoney, or I didn't want him to walk out and say, "Oh, I can't make it tonight." I want to make
That
sure.
really happened.
Yeah. Rarely, yeah. But anyway.
West end of the front bar, 25 years.
How did the big flip? How did the name come about? What's that?
Quaff.
No, Big Slick. I have no idea.
It started as a poker tournament, right? Like a
Yeah,
Texas
that's
Hold'em
right.
tournament, and
Yeah.
kind of morphed into this
Didn't they
variety
do-
show
They
type
used to
thing.
do that down at the Uptown, I think, had the poker tournament.
Actually, the poker tournament used to be at one of the casinos,
Did it?
and I want to say it was Harrah's for a while. But that's how it started, as a poker tournament, and then it just exploded. And they don't do the poker thing; they do the softball game on Friday night, then this huge variety show on Saturday night, and the auction. So
And then
Heidi Gardner, one of the auction, somebody bid 50 grand, and I guess I don't know if they're going to be at Saturday Night Live or in the audience or backstage or have a role in one of the skits, but that was one of the auction items.
I
Wow.
think it was tickets. I think it was tickets to a show,
Okay.
which ask Whitaker. They're hard to get.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to be affiliated with an NBC station usually to get them.
Really?
I mean, the best way to get into Saturday Night Live is not the live show, but the dress rehearsal right before it.
Right
Because
before,
they
yeah.
put on about a 2-hour version of it, and Lorne Michaels the whole time is throwing stuff out, and they do the show backwards, so that the last sets they use in the dress rehearsal are the first sets in the wings, ready to go for the main show.
Huh.
So you can go watch the show backwards in person, and then you go back to your hotel room and watch it in reverse order.
Forward.
I watched
Yeah.
a couple other shows. I watched the Donna Summer.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
And it's interesting. I thought she had died much earlier than, I don't know. Did you, Donna? I thought she died like in.
No, actually, I actually saw Donna in person after her big, after all the disco stuff, way after that. And it was I can't even remember where. I think it was in Arizona, and it was a relatively small venue. But I am telling you, when you hear her in person, there's one thing hearing her recording, but when you hear her in person, her range was phenomenal. She was so good. I was blown away, more so than, I always loved, her stuff and all that, but she was really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting life. She went off
Yeah.
to Germany. She got into the limelight by being recruited over to Germany and kind of building her craft there.
Right.
She got herself sideways with the gay community.
Yep.
They were attached to her. She wasn't quite as attached to them, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah.
But she was good. She was really good. That's why I watched it, I think. And then the other one, I watched the Sarah Silverman comedy.
I watched
that.
The what
I
one?
watched that. Yeah.
Sarah
Yeah.
Silverman comedy.
Oh, I didn't see that. I love Sarah Silverman. She's
I
so
think
weird.
it's still up. I think it's still up.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
good.
I just watched it over the weekend. Boy, do not have your kids or grandkids in the room.
Yeah.
That's
Oh man,
Okay.
it's yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard X.
Oh man, it's hard. Yeah.
You know, Pete, I think that in this movie, Lost in America, I saw that one of the producers or something was a woman's name Silverman, and it made me wonder if that was her mom or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But because I don't know where Sarah Silverman came from or anything like that, but I know that one of the producers for this comedy special was Mel Brooks. So
I saw that.
yeah,
She's from Boston, I think, because wasn't that show in Boston?
she said she referred to Boston a few times in the.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any sumo wrestling.
it's Donna
fans
Summer,
on our group,
as far as
but,
I know.
another thing I watched on Max, a series called Sanctuary. It's fictional, but it's purportedly about the seedy underside of sumo wrestling. So
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I don't even want to think about the underside of Superman.
Yeah, you're right there.
Talking about
Speaking of
characters you
famous
don't
singers,
like.
though, we lost a great one with Tina Turner.
Oh,
I don't know
oh
if
my
any of you
God.
got to
Only
see
the
Tina
best.
Turner when she
Yeah.
was without Ike, but she was phenomenal. She
I saw her. God, I
Yes,
saw her when she was with Ike the first time, and they called her the hardest working woman in showbiz. And I swear, you have never seen anyone move like she did for her entire show, which was like 2 hours at least. And that was when she had the long straight hair. I don't know if you've ever seen that when she first did Proud Mary, when she was popular, but she was, just popular with that's what, really got her. I saw her with him, and then I saw her again, like, God, I don't know, 30 years later, maybe. And still she was just unbelievable and even better. I mean, just even had more control and just knew her audience. Oh, she was amazing. She was the best, simply the best. Yeah.
I always
Sort of
I always
early
heard
90s.
When Ike and Tina Turner opened it twice for the Rolling Stones, I think in like 68 and 69,
Yeah.
something like that, that really sort of pushed them out, raised their profile a lot.
Well, when she taught Mick how to dance, I think
Yeah.
that started it. Yeah.
No, I saw her at Sandstone in the early 90s, and she had like 3 backup
Yeah. Oh,
singers
yeah.
with her and dancers,
The Harlettes.
and
The
she wore them
Harlettes.
out. I mean,
Yeah.
she had to be 60, 65 at that time.
Yeah.
And those gals were huffing and were sweating, and she wasn't sweating, and she was just rolling along.
I know. She was amazing, just amazing. And
I
a
was
great
talking
voice
to-
too.
Talking to a friend of mine who had been to the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival and had heard John Fogerty play that. He played the first verse Creedence Clearwater style, but he played the rest of the song Tina Turner style.
Turner style.
Tipping the hat to her that, here's somebody who took my song and possessed it and did a better job on it than I did, which is saying something for that group.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah,
recently, Jeff, or was that like a tribute to her death, or just a tribute?
No, it was a show. It was he was at the Heritage Festival.
Uh-huh. I've heard that's a really good show, the Heritage Festival.
Yeah, it's an event. You can spend 7 or 8 days there watching.
That's
It's so
multiple
frustrating.
days.
So frustrating because they have like 5 great acts all at the same time at
Yeah.
different parts of the area. It's like, where do I go? I can't go wrong, but I can't see everybody I want to see.
Yeah.
It's on it covers 2 weekends too. That's why you could be there for a week or more.
Yeah.
Mahoney and I could never go because it always fell during May sweeps.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now it's in April.
It is?
Yeah.
And 1st of May. Yeah.
Yeah, April and
But
May.
Mahoney and I don't give a shit anymore.
Exactly.
If you do go, there's a thing called what is it? The Big Chief seats. where you get to sit under an awning, and they have a beverage stand and good bathrooms behind it and so forth. Otherwise, for us old guys, you're kind of out there among the rabble, and it's a little unpleasant.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I was among the rabble back in like 79 and 80. I went, and it was a whole different thing back then. But they did have 4 stages around the racetrack, so everybody had to move between them. And
yeah, it's incredible.
I saw Pharaoh Sanders on the main stage when the sun was going down, and his spaceship arrived, and I was doing acid, and I just thought, this is the greatest thing. And I was dragging the kids' wagon. You could bring your own beer in there, so I had a cooler with beer in a wagon, a little red flyer wagon that I drove around the thing. Tried to save a few bucks that way.
Does the Division of Family Services know you were pulling beer in a wagon and grandkids while on acid?
Well, no. The grandkids weren't there.
Oh,
Yeah, this
Their
was
wagon.
like, yeah,
I
this
just
was a few
borrowed, I
years
just
back.
borrowed their,
okay.
I would remind the league, this is being recorded.
Oh,
So
that's right. This is being recorded. We need to maintain dignity and decorum.
All right.
Convicted? No, never convicted. No.
There's got to be a statute of limitations, though, right?
Yeah, that
Oh,
would think.
yeah, I think so, yeah.
And we make things up.
The
I
disclaimer,
was so
the
amazed.
disclaimer.
I was staying at the, can't remember what it was. It was over by where Irma Thomas has her bar. It was a Days Inn or something like that. And, for the Jazz Fest, instead of, $99 a night, they were $300 a night or something. And we got back to the room and we retired and all that, but I was still wired. And I just got out and walked on the street, and there was music still going on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and of course that's New Orleans. That could be
Yeah.
But
That's 24/7. Yeah.
It made me fall in love with New Orleans. I'll tell you that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Two
All
things
right.
before I go. Donna, welcome to Missouri. And Mahoney, have you heard the new Dylan album?
No, I watched it when it was broadcast. What, last summer or the summer before? It's really good.
What album are you talking about?
I'm talking about Shadow Kingdom.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So yeah, I liked all the arrangements from it.
I just saw it pop up this week in Spotify. So it's been out for a year?
No. The video has been out for a year. They just released the album last Tuesday.
Okay. So I'm not that far behind.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right, man.
all right, folks.
All
All
right.
right.
Pete,
Good pick.
That was
Good pick,
fun.
Pete.
I should have
Yeah, fun, Pete.
written it.
All right.
Okay.
Take care, folks.
Mahoney?
Don't
You
at
too. Have a
hard.
good week.
Remember, it's the at. Don't forget the at.
Oh, yeah. Young.
It's
You
behind
won't
the
find it.
at.
You won't find it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mahoney,
Thanks.
I'm going to try and call you tomorrow. Are you going to be around?
Well, yeah, I'll be. Yeah, I'll have my phone with him. I'm a golf marshal, but tomorrow. So yeah, try me. Especially things get real light after 9 o'clock.
Okay. I'll try after that.
All right.
Sounds good, bud.
All right,
See you
guys.
guys.
Take care.